And we're back. Another episode of AC Milan's own podcast. I'm here, joined as always by the best looking Swedish man in AC Milan's own group, Oscar. Welcome back.
I'll take that title. Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here again.
Each week I'm just gonna give you a different compliment until I get weirder and weirder. Unfortunately, less football than we were gonna hope to talk about with a postponed game. We'll get to that. I don't know about you, but I have strong opinions about it. I thought it was pretty ridiculous. But first, let's talk about the football that did take place on the screen. A big Champions League win, the first Champions League points and first Champions League win, of course, of our campaign after a terrible game against Liverpool and a somewhat unlucky game against Leverkusen. At home, we pick up 3 big points, win 3-1 against Club Brugge. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, it was. I thought it was an okay game. Perhaps not the most exciting. I think we were expecting a Milan win, anyways. That red card switched it up because even though we were 1-0 up in the first half there before the red card, it wasn't all massively clear that we were gonna go and win the game. So Um, yeah, some very positive things, some mediocre things. It was one of those games where we should have gotten 3 points and we did, and wasn't a terrible performance. Sure, the red card helped us, but overall, an okay game.
Yeah, I agree. I'd call this basically a must-win game because of the way the schedule lines up and how the quote-unquote smaller teams might tighten up at the end. Um, it's huge that we got these 3 points. Obviously, Madrid next. We'll see. Not expecting to bring anything home from that, but you'll see. But it lines up the rest of the easier games to be, yeah, a little more comfortable. You can drop 2 points just in case. Um, yeah, it was for me. It was interesting. I think it was a terrible start. I think if Perugia were a little more hungry, closer to goal, or perhaps had a little more quality, without disrespecting them too much, they could have scored easily two, maybe even 3. They hit the bar. They were kind of all over us. Something wasn't working in our midfield, um, but they didn't take advantage. Then we found obviously a beautiful but kind of accidental goal as Pulisic continues to score. This time on Olimpico, he admitted himself that he's just trying to whip one with some pace and some curve on the first post, and it just happens to go in, which of course sets us up for great success. And then, as you said, red card, pretty clear red card. Referee doesn't really see it because it's kind of tough. It took a long time on VAR. To me, that's pretty cut and dry, pretty clear.
Yeah,
I mean, he could have really actually hurt TJ. Could have really broken his ankle and could have been really bad. I'm surprised they even called the ref over. But after he saw it, he even said, it's clear. There's not much I can do. I assume you agree with the red card, pretty clear, cut and dry.
yeah. I thought it was pretty clear. Yeah, I think whilst it's Rangers who comes in and tackles him, it's the ball's just moved. But yes, stretched out leg, studs up, high up on Rangers as Rangers has planted his foot. Could have been a lot worse. Rangers could finish the game, score 2 goals eventually. So happy nothing happened. But yeah, I thought it was pretty obvious red card, and didn't really understand Club Brugge's manager and the player who got the red card's reaction when he was shown it. I thought it was pretty obvious without being too biased.
Yeah, and maybe they didn't see it properly or feel it, but the player has to feel it. I mean, yeah. I
Yeah.
think once they look at it but that back, then it's pretty obvious. Um, then the second half was interesting. We started off badly, obviously, conceded a stupid goal. To me, you're at home, you go 1-0 up against Club Brugge, they're down 10 man. I remember texting you, if we don't make this an easy win, we're in trouble. So it got a little concerning when we conceded that goal. Um, what did you think of the goal? I'll tell you my quick recollection of it. I saw a pretty interesting breakdown from earlier, from the very, very start of the play. And as much as I hate all the hate that Rafa Leao has been getting for almost anything, really, um, there is something to be said about the defensive rotation. He comes out on the initial pressing just a little bit and then just never comes back. and you can see how that breaks down eventually. Emerson Royal also doesn't do great, but a pretty stupid goal to concede, and I got a little bit worried. Um,
Yeah.
how do you see it?
Yeah, I think it's one of those goals again, and we've seen it quite a lot this season and even past seasons when it comes to defending that man marking and a lack of concentration, nobody taking responsibility to go out and press a player, everyone just sort of standing around ball watching. It's happened quite a few times. I'm trying to think back of a goal this season specifically, but yeah, it's a silly goal to concede. We're 1-0 up at halftime. They get a red. We should be we should be taking this game into just sort of killing it and making it an easy win. And we concede a goal like that, just lackluster defending wise, no man marking, ball watching. Emerson Royale, defensively, he is absolutely terrible. I think
Which
has
is
his
tough
odd
because it was meant
moments.
to be strength, right?
Yeah, right. Again, the signing of Emerson Royale baffles me, but uh, he's lucky that Calabria's out injured, or I guess he's kind of come back or training at least. Like we said, we're not really sure what's going on with the link to his contract negotiation and extension. But yeah, if we're gonna be if we're gonna be challenging for the Scudetto this season, and of course trying to go as far as we can in the Champions League, I think nobody in their right mind would think that Milan was going to win it, but at least go somewhat far. It's we can't be playing or defending like we did against Bruges for that goal, and we can't have a back line that passive sometimes. Whilst I think Gabbia has been playing well, Pavlovic whenever he's played, Chow has come in now a bit and seems quite stable. Emerson Royale and Tomori sometimes they ball watch way too much for me.
Yeah, I mean it's been a problem all season long, and
Yeah,
it's clear that it's here to stay. Hopefully, incremental improvements, and we'll get better. But yeah, I mean that was a bad goal to concede. And again, in the first half, if we concede two in those first 15 minutes, I don't think anyone says, "Wow, that's really unfair." So it's something to watch. It also seems that beyond Gabbia, I'm not sure that Fonseca has found exactly the starters. It seems that when big games come, it seems to be Emerson Royal, Gabbia, Tomori, Teo. But of course, that remains to be seen. Tomori's had some shaking performances. Obviously, Emerson Royal has been playing, but because, as you mentioned, there really hasn't been a sub available. So we'll see, and then we'll talk about Napoli coming up. But we'll probably in for a few shaky performances. I did think Chow did well before. He seemed more solid when he came back from injury and played against
yep.
Udinese. I still think Pavlovic is very solid, and I think Tomori is just there because he works a little bit better currently the way we're set. Overall, we did okay in the back. Beyond, yeah, I mean, I think I've come to peace with the fact that we're gonna concede 1 to 2 goals most games, and if we don't, it's bonus. But sort of the
Yeah.
default is conceding at least one, which is obviously problematic, but it's just the way it goes apparently.
I mean, it is problematic. We can't be going into a game thinking we have to concede or we're going to concede. We're going back to sort of I'm not sure if it's Fonseca's system or it's players not taking ownership or it's this sort of just strange zonal marking, but it's these lack of concentration, moments of lack of concentration, like tomorrow against Fiorentina when it's a routine free kick from De Gea just outside his own box, floating up. He's not really being challenged by anyone. It's not that you've got Diego Costa in his prime that's battling Tomori up for just before the header, right? He's sort of kind of all alone almost, and he just whiffs. It's those moments that just need to stop. I don't understand how these keep happening. Yasin Adli's goal as well. Just throw in ball people, defenders ball watching, nobody taking the onus of let's go and close this guy down. The goal that Di Marco scored against us in the derby again, Emerson Royale's side, and then okay, he tries to be responsible and press up, but as a professional football player and as a fullback, yeah, I'm not sure where I was going with this, but
Yeah, I mean, a lot
these
of
moments of
individual
lack of
mistakes, I agree.
concentration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the rest, I think, and maybe that's a good point to start bringing in the Lao conversation, which is continues to heat up. At some point, the way we play and the way we press and the way we come back requires everyone to come back. And that's why Leao and Fonseca, in my mind, are butting heads so much. There was a lot of conversation about Leao being taken out. I did think he was going forward for a long time. We weren't creating a lot, and he got a lot better when Pulisic went in the middle. And people say, oh, because Leao came out. I mean, Okafor didn't do anything
Oh,
that Leao wasn't already doing.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it was because Ruben Loftus-Cheek got subbed out and didn't absorb that
exactly,
area that Rangers
exactly,
then found that pocket and just slotted it away like
exactly.
like a center mid should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
no,
people
I
are
mean,
saying, Leao came out and we scored. It's more because Pulisic came in the middle, Loftus-Cheek came out, and another good dribbler, and Chukwueze came
yeah,
in. Um,
yeah,
but to be fair, the goal again, if you watch from the wide angle at the beginning, yeah, Leao just never comes back, and you're not expecting him to press, but Pulisic comes back and provides some cover, at least steps in the passing lane, in the passing lanes. Leao does the initial press, and then once the ball is behind him, he just jogs. And now you're playing with a player less. You have another striker there. Modern football just doesn't work like that. You can't just have two people walking about, especially
yeah,
someone on the wing. If Pulisic does it, I've been watching between the Champions League since we played earlier. I watched the Madrid game, which was great right after, also to prep for our playing them. And I also watched the Clásico last night. I mean, Vinicius Jr. hustles and comes back on defense so much. If he can do it, he's about to win the Ballon d'Or, probably.
yeah,
There's no point. Again, we're not expecting you to slide tackle and win the ball back every time. Just literally come back, hustle back, cover some passing lanes. All you need to make sure is to literally cover the passing lane to whatever winger is on your side. That's all. And he hasn't been doing that, and it's. I can imagine how frustrating it is for Fonseca. It is a bit unlucky for him this one because I think he was literally the only one producing anything offensively, um,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
curious to see.
Leao had a good game going forward, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he had nine successful dribbles. Now, obviously, a successful dribble can be sort of completely harmless, but a stat like that in 60 minutes, that's pretty impressive. And he is a good dribbler, and I'm trying to think back to the moments where he did create a chance. Was it the rest of the team's fault for not executing? Maybe, but he definitely isn't as bad as at least Twitter or X says, right? And because he just because he got subbed out, it's easy for Twitter hater fans to latch onto that and media as well. But yeah, I think you're right that Fonseca wants his winger to track back a bit more, or like you said, don't have to be Rino Gattuso covering every single blade of grass trying to get the ball back. It's just if you're 20 meters deeper into your own half, you're cutting away a lot of passing lanes, at least out to the opposition's right wing, and helping out Theo and helping out either Fofana or Rangers, who has to cover for two people every time.
yeah, because then you see what happens is that everyone else needs to shift, and at some point, especially when you have only two CDMs, there's only so much coverage that two plus the other wing on the other side can do. And then you're exposed, and then on one side it's one-on-one with Emerson Royale. At some time they can fail, and then the cross on the other side, and the winger that you were supposed to be tracking back ends up scoring. So I
Yeah,
think it's a lot of that. It is a bit unfortunate, and I do hope it's sorted out because we need Rafa simply. We need him to track back because we're not solid defensively, and so we need to defend as a unit. But we need to go always, forward and be successful going forward. And for that, he can be just as dangerous. Pulisic is going crazy, but he can be just as dangerous as Pulisic because we're conceding so much. We know that we're gonna need to score probably 2 to 3 goals a game if we're gonna try to get some wins. That being said, I think we've played a lot better once the subs were made because of the change in tactics. Because Loftus-Cheek again, I've been now a couple of podcasts that have been frustrated with Loftus-Cheek. He was again completely useless, lost in the press. He doesn't really press. He just walks up, and then stands and just kind of contains 1 meter away from the ball. Going forward,
Yep.
he's not offering much. That cam position right now, it's not for him. I would honestly rather see him against at CDM. Not that he played well at CDM, but maybe as a sub for CDM is more his position.
Hmm.
I would love to see again the Chukwueze, Pulisic, Leao. I understand why he hasn't tried it so much, because if Leao doesn't track back, it's not like Chukwueze does a lot of defensive work. He also does a little bit more, but still it's a much smaller body. So I understand why he hasn't tried that yet. But in a game where maybe we need some goals, I would love to see that, because I think that could be the best going forward. And yeah, I thought Chukwueze and Okafor, obviously both providing assists, came in very, very well. And it's
Yep.
a breath of fresh air for us. We needed some firepower off the bench. We were talking about how Fonseca trusts that the starting 11 but hasn't figured out any options. It looks like we have 2 players ready to come and ball off the bench. How did
Yeah,
you
that's
how did you
that's
see Chuk and
yeah,
Okafor?
I think it was 3-4 games ago. We were very worried about, okay, the starting 11. I think it was after the Inter game, or perhaps even beforehand. Yeah, okay, our starting 11 was producing relatively well, but we were a bit worried that we had players like Jovic, Musa, Chukwueze, Okafor on the bench, Ruben Loftus-Cheek at that point as well on the bench, and then not being able to provide anything whatsoever. And yeah, it seems like in this game and in other games as well now recently, we can see that they come in, they change the tactics slightly, brings that energy and that ability to unlock a game like they just did for us against Bruges. So it's nice to see. Obviously, Tammy Abraham and Jovic haven't perhaps been. So Jovic has barely played. He's not even in the Champions League squad. So um, it's a breath of fresh air to see our subs coming in and contributing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a couple more words maybe as we wrap the game for Tej, and then moving to the
Yeah,
only striker subs that we had. Um, Reinders, 2 beautiful goals, nice and tidy. We get those type of chances so much because we have such powerful wingers. Really 4 powerful wingers. So our starting, obviously Leao and Pulisic, but Chukwueze and Okafor in this chance coming in, they can take their man one-on-one every time and provide a sort of assist. And we've seen it miss in the past because of personnel mistakes. We saw it in this game, or right before the goal actually happened, the same kind of chance happened, and then Loftus-Cheek really kind of messed it up. And
yeah,
then as soon as that was cleared out, we saw 2 beautiful repeat goals. Tijani Reinders continues to grow. Perhaps our most important player behind Christian Pulisic at the moment. Yeah, I think if you're Fonseca and you're picking a starting 11, and
he's the first on the team sheet.
yeah, Pulisic might be first, and I think Tej is second, and
Yeah,
maybe even first. Um,
yeah. No, I agree that we do get those chances because we've got Leao on one side and Pulisic or Chukwueze when he comes in on the other side, and they can, you know, dribble past the fullback and then come to the bit to the touchline and then perhaps find that angled pass backwards. Just because they've been suffocated with space, and then they drag 2 or 3 defenders towards them, so that opens up that pocket just inside the penalty area, just outside it. And how many times in the past 3-4 years have we seen AC Milan number 10s, or rather attacking midfielders or our centre mids fluff chances like that, where it's either gone sky high or taken a poor touch or it's hit our own player. So the fact that Rangers kept his cool on both goals, they're quite, I'm not going to say the most difficult types of goals to score, but it's very easy that can go wrong. So very, very happy to see that tactic, I guess it is a type of Milan tactic, it finally paid off. It's not the Brahim Diaz, no disrespect, but he used to fumble those chances quite a lot where he'd not get it out his feet. Or Ruben Loftus Cheek is 1 meter ahead, so he'll miss it because it comes back or whatever. So, yeah, Rangers has been very, very impressive. Glad to see that he got man of the match voted by in the Champions League, but that puts him on the radar for those pesky Premier League teams that will no
yeah,
doubtedly want to sign him for quite a lot.
Yeah, this summer might get interesting with him, but he seems like
Yeah,
a I don't know, a pretty low key player in terms of, he's gonna want a salary bump, which he deserves, but I don't think he would. I mean, I obviously don't know him at all, but it doesn't seem like he would go just for the highest bidder. I think his dad, which is his agent or part of his agent group, mentioned how Barcelona had come knocking for him before Milan, and
yeah,
his father was like, "Hey, look, be careful. Obviously, it's a big jump. One of the dream clubs that you can sign in the world. But you need to be a Busquets replacement. Is that how you like to play? Is that where you can succeed? You can make the wrong move, even though it's the bigger move, and not put yourself in a position to succeed. So it seems like a thoughtful guy in that way, and I think he can shine at Milan. He can still earn some money just as a kid. So hopefully we keep him for a long time. Speaking of kids, Camarda came off the
yes.
bench as our only striker, got called up, became Milan's youngest ever Champions League debutant, and I think the third ever youngest debutant in the Champions League overall. Scored
Yeah,
a very nice goal.
I think Milan. I think Milan has three of the five youngest Italians. I think one of them
Yes,
is Brian Cristante
Brian
back in the day,
Cristante originally, yes, for us.
Camarda, and
There was someone else, but I forgot whoever
it
who else
wouldn't.
made the
Yeah,
list.
it wouldn't have been Donnarumma because
Maybe
we
Cutrone,
didn't qualify. Yeah, something like
but I
that.
don't know
Yeah,
if we were
and
making
then
Champions League.
Moise Kean was on that list as well. Obviously
Hmm.
not for Milan, but for Juventus. Um, yeah, it was good to see. It was like yeah, the only striker we had on the bench because Jovic is not
On the
in our
Champions League
squad
list,
for the
yeah.
Champions League,
And anyway, he would have
and
been hurt.
yeah, of course. And Tammy Abraham obviously trying to treat that strange shoulder injury. Um, very very upsetting to see that goal disallowed. I was,
Yeah,
I think every Milan fan or at least
yeah.
Champions League fan even
He
was
was upset
heartbroken
too.
because it
Yeah,
was a good goal. It
it
was
was a
such a
good
good
goal.
goal.
Like nothing special, but Cross comes in, he finds a space, heads. I
Yeah.
mean, we're talking about a 16-year-old in the box, heads it there over the keeper. Beautiful goal. I think a beautiful moment overall. The whole team rushes the pitch. They lift him up. He takes off his shirt. San Siro's going crazy. Uh,
Hmm.
right offside, of course, but by very little overall. And then you could see how upset he was after the game. As you
I
kind of
see.
have to be. You kind of see the fairy tale kind of ending being taken away from you. But
Talk about
hopefully a lot
a
more to
roller
come.
coaster. Talk about a
Yeah,
roller coaster of
yeah,
emotion.
yeah. And it seems like he's gonna be called up against the Napoli game. Tammy Abraham
Yeah.
will not make it. Jovic says, or from what I saw, the information that we got is that he will try to train with a team, tomorrow, and then try to be called up. But for sure, Camarata will be on the bench. Um, I think we wrap up the Champions League now. Maybe we move on to first quickly Bologna. Of course, we were meant to be playing yesterday. The game doesn't
Yeah.
happen because of the flooding that's I've been was gonna say has been happening in Bologna, but really it's not happening right now. It happened last week. I
Hmm.
think the decision to move the game was a joke. Obviously, the stadium was open; it was good to go. Um, the idea was that there wasn't. There was a lot of emergency services that were going on around the city, and the fans weren't going to be able to go to the stadium and all that. And by the way, of course, the flooding is most important. A lot of damage, a lot of people hurt. So I hope that's not the problem. Of course, hope everyone is okay. The issue is that then you play at closed doors. The league wanted this to happen. Milan wanted this to happen. They met. Milan even said we'll give out 250,000 euros, which is what they're part of the income from the game. They said we play in a neutral location, also without Milan fans. They had found several other stadiums. We're talking about Como Stadium, the Empoli Stadium, and the Atalanta Stadium. The league wanted this to
Yep.
happen. It was basically just Bologna refusing for no reason. Their Primavera played in Bologna 3 hours before the game that were supposed to take place with us. There were several other events, including a boxing event and a car show happening in Bologna the same day. It
A
was
car,
sunny.
a car show, a car
Yeah,
show after flooding, and
a
that
car
still
show.
worked out.
Yeah, It was sunny yesterday, all day yesterday and today. Um,
Yeah,
and they don't even know when they can fill it in because schedule is so packed. We have extra Champions League game. Milan is likely, of course, if we pass through the group, we won't pass the tops teams, so we're gonna have a playoff. We're playing in the Super Cup, which means we're gonna need to have a game to catch up again. They literally don't know when this game can take place,
yeah,
and Bologna, out of just sheer also greed, because they just wanted the money from their um, fans coming in the stadium, blocked it all. This type of stuff only happens in Italy, and
yeah.
then
I
the
was gonna say why I don't understand how the league didn't step their foot down, or if there is a protocol for this. Because, like you said, if we can't find any space in our schedule, and see Bologna is in the Champions League as well, they'll be playing their games. It's bizarre that the league allowed this to go this far, whereby Bologna has the right to say no, and they did, and that maybe should be a forfeit. I think we're a bit saltier as Milan fans as well, because that means both Theo and Rangers won't be playing against Napoli, and Napoli is the team to beat right now, right? So had we not had those players, um, had we not had those players unavailable for against Napoli, maybe it would have been a different feeling that we had. But yeah, it's disappointing. I don't understand how it goes down to the. It's essentially the mayor of Bologna, right, who has who gets to give the go ahead for the game to
Yeah, he
either
put
happen or
his
not.
feet down. There was some conspiracy theory. He is, yeah, from Naples and a Napoli fan. But it's just silly. This stuff doesn't happen. And then I saw all the journalists and coming out, and the mayor itself in Bologna saying, this is the right moral thing to do. It's like, it wasn't so moral when the thing was actually happening and you were all in Aston Villa and your fans went and it was all fine to play. That was the morality didn't matter there. It's just pure silliness. All they sent out a message now that on Monday everything else opens up. It's just pure silliness. It's gonna I don't know. It's hard to feel like it's not really gonna impact Milan quite a bit, because our schedule is gonna be messed up. Um, they also need to change this rule about the red cards. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This game is obviously gonna take place. There's no way Reinders and Theo should miss the next game. Also because this is something that teams think about. Think about yellow cards. Think about maybe I rest this player, or maybe I get a second yellow, so I skip this game rather than the next. It's a football tactic. It's part of the game. So
Yeah,
it's ridiculous that this would happen anyway. Um, and yeah, only this stuff only happens in Italy. It's yeah, really just stupid that they were not even willing to budge. And yeah, sometimes I hate how quiet and how many things we let go. It feels like we are, one of, if not the biggest clubs in Italy, and get treated like a mid-table club um,
mm.
half the time. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of it at all. And that leads to the Napoli game. It's gonna be a rough one in terms of lineup. A little more time for us to prepare. Obviously, Napoli played in the weekend and won a game that they did not deserve in a classic Conte way. Find a way, and they remain top of the league. Their schedule is about to get a lot harder, starting with us, of course. But tough. We got the news that Gabbia is out. The same problem in his, I think, his abductor in his leg that kept him out against Udinese will keep him out for sure against Napoli, and apparently against Madrid too, which means we will be missing our best performing center back. I'm not sure if I can call him our best center back in theory, but on paper, but his best performing center back for sure. Our Theo Hernandez, best left back in the world. Our best midfielder, Tijani Reinders. And
Yep.
it's gonna get pretty interesting.
Kamad on the bench for us as a backup striker should Morata
Yeah, I'd expect a
feel
lot of
feel tired.
our US actually. Liberali and Zeroli played quite well. Zeroli scored a crazy bicycle kick
That was beautiful.
today. I'd imagine they get a call up, and maybe some defenders too. I think it's a game that we would have gone in as the underdogs anyway, and now it's only bigger. What do you think?
I'm
Do you think
just
Napoli is all that? I know you've been skeptical because of their schedule, which is fair enough. They played all lower league teams.
yeah.
What do you think? Are they all that? Are they the main candidates for the league for the Scudetto?
No, I don't. I don't think so. Still not convinced considering their schedule and who they've played against. We are we the first, I guess, big team that they're playing against? I believe
Yes,
so. No,
yes.
they
Well,
played against Juventus.
they play against Juve
Played
in a
against
very
Juve.
boring 0-0 where they clearly were going for the draw.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm again against us. I'm just looking at that Kvaratskhelia against Emerson Royale on our right wing, their left wing. That's going to be tasty for Kvaratskhelia, I think. Di Lorenzo has just been banging in goals both for Italy and for
Yeah,
Napoli.
he's found his form. He should have been sent
Yeah,
off. You didn't see maybe the highlights, but he should have been off.
I did not know. He should have
But
been. Okay.
yeah, I
Of
mean, I
course.
think
Of
I'm salty
course.
enough. I've been complaining about it, so we just gotta let that go. I hope Fonseca is
Yeah.
telling this to the players. By the way, all this red card nonsense, all this Bologna nonsense. I hope they
Yeah.
use that
But then,
as
but then
motivation.
we've got we've got Di Lorenzo on the other wing, who will be most likely playing against Terracciano or Bartesaghi. Probably Terracciano. I doubt
Probably
he's going to throw in
Terracciano, yeah.
Bartesaghi. Yeah, it's unfortunately their strongest positions are going to be against our weakest. You know, who's going to play that CDM role with Fofana? Now the Rangers not playing. Is it going to be Musa? That doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. Hopefully, it's not Ruben Loftus Cheek. Um, I think still we're gonna have one of those. It's gonna be one of those games where neither side perhaps is really going for it, and then I'm hoping for a Pulisic or a Leao moment of magic, and Emerson Royal just hopefully has an okay game.
Yeah, we're gonna need some of those moments of magic. I have a feeling we're gonna need. Yeah, I hope Law is okay and they're patching up clearly what's happening
Yeah,
behind closed doors because there's clearly and it's gonna continue to be a big part, a big argument, and a big part of the media attention. Um, yeah, I think Gabbia would have also been huge because of the man marketing could have done on Lukaku.
hmm
That duty, I assume, will fall to Pavlovic, who I guess starts. We'll find out. But yeah, it seems like it's all set up for a lot of Napoli advantages. The midfield that's been doing so well for them, us without Tige will be rather massive. Um, and yeah, yeah, remains to be seen. I imagine the lineup. I saw something on Gazzetta, which is still too early for the lineup, uh, exact lineup info, but that both Musa and Loftus Cheek were tried in the starting lineup, perhaps to get a little more physical in the midfield. That seems pretty dangerous to me. Those are two players that are have been question marks for us. So I'm not sure that lining both of them up is the way to go. Um, but we'll be seeing. I imagine it's Magnan, it's Emerson Royal, because Calabria still won't be fine, and I don't think he'll be thrown in there anyway, even though he has always played well against Crava, actually.
yeah.
Um, I imagine Tomori Pavlovic. Chao has been doing well, but if I had to guess, that's where I'm going. And Terracciano definitely over Bartesaghi. Yeah, I don't know who plays that second midfield role. I don't know. It's gonna have to be one of those two, Musa or Loftus Cheek. I would go for Fana Loftus Cheek, and then yeah, I mean, I would understand.
Oh,
I would rather have the firepower. I'd rather go out swinging and do Chuk, Pulisic, Leao.
yeah.
I do think that that's unlikely because he's gonna want some more cover, and that's fair enough. And he's probably gonna put Musa and then I don't know, one of Musa and Loftus-Cheek playing Cam, and then playing as we've been playing. But yeah, I'd rather go out swinging, and then yeah, off the bench we're not gonna have a lot. Um, we're gonna have probably Okafor, of course, unless he starts. Do you think he benches Leao for Napoli?
No, I don't. I don't think so. To be honest, I don't think Liao's defensive. Uh, lack of defense is justified to not start him because he did so well going forwards. And
Yeah,
whilst it didn't lead to a goal,
and it would
that
be
that
pretty,
was quite a good.
I don't know,
Yeah,
a pretty
yeah,
big statement not to start. I mean, I guess he didn't start him against Lazio, and that was the other big game that we had. But that would be, yeah, that would be rather strong.
yeah.
Um, do we think? Obviously, I think we come on underdog, but you think how big of a chance? You had to give a percentage of us walking out. I mean, it is a home that will help. Walking out of San Siro with 3 points.
55-45 for us.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I
You're
don't think it. I think it's gonna be.
more confident than I am. I think,
I am.
yeah, yeah. I just
I
hope that,
mean,
yeah, it's
yeah, Napoli have to lose eventually. And Conte is going to break down. He's going to get sent off in the 60th minute or something like that.
yeah. It's
He's going to go
hilarious how
cry in the
much, yeah,
media.
he's so good at just coming in and leaving his blueprint on a team. Like it's so they play, and it works well. I mean, he's won, a lot of games everywhere. He went for this reason. They play his way. They clearly everyone fell in line. They run like crazy. Sometimes they win by dominating. Sometimes they just are able to hustle and win games they shouldn't, like they did this weekend.
Yep.
And obviously, helps a lot when you have a lot more rest. Don't have to play European games. You have a lot more time to set up the team. But I mean, I guess we'll naturally came to it. Prediction time. What do you think? Milan Napoli will play 8:45 on Tuesday.
I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Milan.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's actually going to be a 3-1 win for Napoli, a 1-3 in San Siro. It's tough. I'm hoping that this is just like, prove me wrong kind of mentality and just putting out good karma. But
Okay.
yeah, it feels like as you were breaking it down as well, all the individual matchups, it seems like we've been set up for failure here.
Yeah.
But
So if you're going to you said 1 goal for Milan, who is the goal scorer going to be?
I keep saying now, and he either doesn't play or gets subbed off. So, I mean, it would be easy to say Pulisic, so I'll stay away from that. I'll say Alvaro Morata. Hasn't been in the score sheet for a little while. He'll get one
Okay.
off a cross. But yeah, I hope it's a good game. Napoli so far haven't always played great, and against Juve they were clearly happy to just make it a very boring dead game and try to get something, but nothing. I think you could have a point, and maybe they try to do the same with us. But if I think it's for their time to prove, hey, we're top of the league, we're gonna keep going. Plus, hurt Milan in terms of the players. I think they will come in foaming at the mouth, like any good Conte team would in this situation. How about you? You say 2-1. Who do you think gets on the score sheet?
I'm gonna say Liao. I'm gonna say Liao. I'm gonna say Liao until he scores.
Yeah, God, he's always had also good performances against Napoli.
Yeah,
Even when
that's what I'm
even
thinking.
against Spalletti Napoli, we did, that 4-0 and also in the Champions League. So, yeah, I hope so. But it's going to be a tough one. After Napoli, I think we play on the weekend again. But away, Inter, just as I'm opening to check the schedule, up 1-0 against
1-0.
Juve. Zelinski penalty.
Zielinski goal.
This will be a
Penalty,
pretty
of
big,
course.
yeah. This will be a pretty big game. Also because Juve struggles a lot going forward. Usually they don't concede a lot, so
Yeah.
this is gonna be pretty on. We'll switch it on as we wrap this up. We play Saturday. That's weird. Saturday against Monza. Hopefully that'll be a little bit easier after that. So I guess a little midweek stream awaits us.
Could be.
We'll figure that out. That's it. 3-1 Napoli for me. 2-1 Milan for you. Just a big. I won't do it just in case the various social media we post this on doesn't like it, but a big middle finger to Bologna and their mayor from me. And we'll leave it at that. Thanks for doing this, Ozzy, and thanks to anyone who
Thank you.
listened. Ciao, Forza Milan.
Forza Milan.